In an earlier video I made this model of a bedside table. Now I am going to put a texture on it. The texture is an image where I have painted a wood grain pattern. The image is 512 by 512 pixels and it is saved as a BMP file. A side of the image should be 2 to the power of something. That could be 16, 32, 64, or so on. The safest thing is to use a square, and BMP is a rather safe format to use. You can use textures with other dimensions and in other formats in the Misfit Model 3D. But there is a risk that when you are using the model outside this program, it will not work as you had intended it to do. On top of the wood grain pattern, I have drawn a door. Now let's use this texture. First, I need to create a material. I pick Materials and Edit Materials. Make a new material, give it a name. I call this material Wood. Set texture by loading the image file. Save the new material by pushing OK. Next, I will make a group out of the two faces that make up the front of the bedside table, and I will apply the new material to that group. Make a new group, give it a name. I call this group Front. Choose the material Wood for the texture, assign to group, and click OK to save the group. The texture has been added to the group, just the way we want it to be. This is not always the case. Often you will have to use Edit Texture Coordinates to get the texture the way you want it to be. Using different settings you can change how the texture is applied to the group. I just set the settings back to the correct settings, and we will get into this a little bit more with the next group. Our next group is going to be all of the mesh with the exception of the group Front. We create the group the same way as we created the group Front. We call this group Body. We also use the material Wood for this group. This time the texture does not right away come out the way we want it to. We can see parts of the door at sides of the bedside table where there are not supposed to be any door. To fix this, we need to edit the texture's coordinates. We start by selecting the group that is going to have the texture applied to it. In the Edit Texture Coordinates window, we select the option Group, and we have to select a direction from which the texture is going to be projected. In this case we choose top. We can now move the coordinates of this group around so that they do not cover any part of the image which have the drawing of the door on it. Now only this part of the image is going to be used as a texture for this group. And that turned out quite fine. Now this is a simple model with a simple application of texture. You might need to have more materials, and you might need to edit parts of the model from different directions, but still the principles are the same. So just go along and experiment. When you are saving your model and your image file, make sure they are saved in the same folder. If you don't, the next time you open up your model, the program will not find the image file. You have a couple of different formats in which you can save the model. MM3D is the Misfit Model 3D program's native format. MS3D, that's milk shape. You can also save your model as a text file or as a wavefront object file. MD2 and MD3, that's Quake formats. Using export, you also have the formats COB, that is True Space, and you have AutoCAD DXF. So you have a lot of useful formats that you can save your model in. Okay, that was all for now. Bye.